Hi, welcome back to Candy's Life. I am Candy, and today I'm going to be getting into the topic of self-sabotage. And forgive me if I look down a little bit. I'm looking at notes that I made on things that I want to make sure I get in this first part. And that being said, this is going to be part one in what's going to be a three-part series on self-sabotage. And it's something I feel that we all deal with in our lives from time to time, some more so than others, some probably not at all. But I do feel that it's something we should talk about and spread awareness of to as many people as we can. Because if you don't talk about it, people don't know about it, and people don't realize it. Okay, so that being said, we're going to jump into it. Part one. What is self-sabotage and why do we do it? Self-sabotage is the act of getting in your own way, for example, creating barriers to achieving an intended or expected outcome. Now, this is according to Dr. Kelly Pennington, PhD, who is a social worker and the Senior Vice President of Operations and Behavioral Health at Frisco, Texas-based Magellan Healthcare. So the information we're getting from this is coming from her point of view, as well as you'll see when we get into parts 2 and 3. Why do we self-sabotage? Well, people self-sabotage for various reasons, which are including but not limited to A, low self-esteem. I think in addiction, that's a really common one, especially when you first come into recovery, fresh off addiction's doorstep. You're going to have low self-esteem. And occasionally, further on into recovery too, you have bouts of low self-esteem. Bad habits, such as excessive and uncontrolled drinking, drugs, or other addictive behaviors. C, cognitive dissonance, which is having inconsistent or conflicting thoughts, such as when leaving cults, high-pressure religious organizations, etc. D, fear or discomfort to change, such as being new to recovery. A need to be in control. Now, I won't say being in control is a bad thing all the time when you're controlling yourself. Now, when you're trying to control others, not such a good thing. F, contentment with where you are in your life, which means you're happy where you're at. You don't want to make any changes. You don't want to rock the boat per se. You're just happy with the way things are now. G, fear of failure. I think we've all experienced fear of failure. I think we all do experience fear of failure. H is a familiarity of failure when we're used to it, which is not a good place to be either. And I, social or peer pressure. Now, we both know those things can be either good for us or very bad for us. That depends on the social and peer situations you put yourself in. You know, my grandmother used to have a saying, and I've heard it from many, trust me. You show me who your friends are, and I'll show you who you are. So if you want to be seen as a decent person and a good person, align yourselves with those kind of people. Now, These internal and external motivators can lead a person to create hurdles, often as a form of avoidance. For example, self-sabotage that stems from fear of failure or change attempts to avoid failure or change, such as putting off looking for new apartments even though you know you have to move. Or, if you're content with where your career is, you may avoid shaking things up by self-sabotaging opportunities to move up in your job. Now, what do I have to say about that? Basically, that means that you're happy where you're at, you know where you're at, you're comfortable with where you're at, and you don't want anything to be different. So, an opportunity might come in your job where you could be promoted. Well, that doesn't align with what you want in your life right now. So, you might do things to, make it appear to your boss that, hey, maybe I'm not the most qualified person for this promotion you want to give out. It happens. I know I say a lot. I'm sorry. I start thinking and then I've got to just go with it. But, sorry, my earbud's bothering me. You see, I only got the one side in so I can hear if something else is going on. Self-sabotage is... I neither look at it as good or bad. I look at it as, it is what it is. This is where I'm at now. Am I happy with where I am now? Or am I doing things that just make it appear that way? So, self-sabotage is something we all experience to varying degrees across different addictions. Whether you're in recovery because you are addicted to drugs, or you're addicted to alcohol, or food, or sex, or fill in the blank, basically. I think we all go through a point of self-sabotage. And the more we look at that, and the more we look at why, and the more we look at examples of, what can be construed as self-sabotage, I think the more we become aware that we're using this, and I'll call it a coping mechanism. It is for me anyways. I'm very much one of those people that when things are going right for me, I don't want it to change at all, whatsoever. I'm good. I know how things are going. I know what I have to do. And I don't need it to be a bunch of different changes all at once. I don't. Even into 5 years of being clean, I don't like abrupt change. I never have. So that's what I've got for part 1 of self-sabotage and why we do it. The next part I'm going to get into, and I might dive into that one a little bit more than this, because basically there's just more to be said into 7 of the most common self-sabotaging behaviors. If you have any questions on this first part, I ask you to please leave them in the comments. I will get to them. I will read them. I also ask that you please like this video and that you do subscribe. Share it with your friends, and I will see you for part 2.